So I was up scrolling the news on Twitter last night, and I saw this article of Governor Jay Inslee needing $100 million to clear homeless encampments off of a freeway. And I'm like, why does he need that much money to clear homeless encampments off of a freeway? You know, and some of you are like, what does this have to do with homesteading? Stick with me here. Just stick with me. Let's take a look at the article. Governor Inslee seeks $100 million to help clear freeway encampments. I believe in Santa Claus. Well, that's your first problem there, Governor. But he's not going to solve this problem, said Inslee at an afternoon press conference announcing his proposed supplemental budget. Yep, it's another politician wanting more money. Yet he's also seemingly aware of the sharp criticism of the state's response after it has already spent $143 million on the issue in the past year. $143 million to clear homeless off of a highway? Sometimes when you talk about budgets, the numbers seem to be more important at times to the actual reality of what we're doing in people's lives, said Inslee. We're not building pyramids here, but we are building lives. With that said, the governor made his case that the state has cleared 30 dangerous encampments with existing funds and housed more than 1,000 people. So they're building houses for these homeless people. That's why it's costing so much money. I know how we'll get them off the highway. We'll build them homes. Hey, anyone out there need a new house? I bet I know how you can get one. Yet the Department of Commerce website, which has been tracking the spending and results, shows only 149 people have successfully exited homelessness as a result of the program. That's almost $1 million per person. I had no idea that being a heroin addict in Washington state could make you so rich. I've been doing this all wrong. So in a related article that I saw this past month over in Washington state, you know, sometimes I wonder if the powers that be are just sitting around the table and wondering amongst themselves, I wonder if there's a more creative way we can depopulate the planet. I mean, we have all of this bioengineered ingredients in the food, poisoning them, and we have the whole sneeze, sneeze, cough, cough thing going on. What if we release grizzly bears, into the public and, go back to the old days of the Roman Colosseum as a way to depopulate the planet? That's what they're going to do, folks. They're going to release grizzly bears in places in Washington state where grizzly bears have long been kicked out. Now, a bit of trivia for you. There's 2 states in our country that have grizzly bears on the flag. You can leave a comment below on what those 2 states are. We'll see. And by the way, in both of those states that have grizzly bears on the flag, there are no more grizzly bears in that state. It's true, plans to restore grizzly bears in Washington has people drawing a line in the sand. The intent to introduce grizzlies back into the wild of the Pacific Northwest has communities split. Depending on who you are, imagining a grizzly bear roaming the North Cascades can spur thoughts of a gentle giant or a monster foaming at the mouth. And that's really true, because here's the deal. If you're a homesteader who raises cattle and you live in these rural areas, yeah, a grizzly bear competing for food and the livestock being the food that they're competing for does not sound good to you. But if you're, a Disneyfied Starbucks yuppie who's sitting around watching, TikTok all day long, grizzly bears back in the wild seems like a great idea. Well, that's their natural habitat. We should put them back. You don't have to live with them. The people who homestead do. Now, we have black bears here, and some of the black bears can get quite big. And yeah, it's shoot first and ask questions later. Because if you have livestock, and most people around here have cattle or, we have sheep, that bear is not sniffing around because he's just coming to play, footsies with you and sniff the flowers and, talk about old times. The world is not a giant green M&M, and the world is not a Disney movie. The bears are hungry. They want food. And you might be on the menu, especially if it's a grizzly bear. It's an incredible opportunity, said Robert Long, the Woodland Park Zoo director of the Northwest Conservative Program, complete and total liberal wacko. It really comes on the heels and completes something we've seen in the North Cascades for the past 2 decades. That is, the grizzly bear will be the last large mammal species missing from our landscape. They really rototill big areas, said Long, so they serve to keep the meadow systems open. They consume huge amounts of berries and plant foods, which also serves to distribute seeds across the landscape. Yeah, these grizzlies aren't giant man-eaters. What they actually are, you see, are farmers. They're just trying to help things grow. Now, and yet what I would call another related story, attorney generals from blue states far and wide have filed amicus briefs to help in the court case with California to take away high-capacity magazines. And one of those states is the state of Washington. So let me get this straight. We're going to spend over $200 million to take away homeless off of the freeway and put them in their own housing. Meanwhile, we're going to spend yet even more money to bring man-eating grizzlies into the rural areas of Washington state. And by the way, we're going to take away your ability to own magazines, 30-round magazines full of stupid shit hurt. Yeah, because we don't want you to actually fight against these grizzly bears when they're eating you. No, we want you to just give up your lives willingly to feed these magnificent animals. It's like, here's what I would do. Here's what people with common sense would do if we lived in the world of reality. You would take those grizzly bears and release them onto the freeways, enclose the freeways so that no one could escape, and thus you have fed the bears. Because the people within the freeway, those homeless people, they don't have 30 rounds of stupid shit hurt. They'll just give up themselves willingly and feed the grizzly bears. The grizzly bears need to be fed. We have 2 food options: cattle, which actually serve a purpose in life to feed other people, and heroin addicts. And I'm sorry, but giving you a new home is not going to cure an addict of its heroin. Feeding a grizzly bear, that heroin addict, will absolutely cure the heroin addiction every single time. All right. This may just be the love growing cold in this world. Listen, we wouldn't have gotten here if people hadn't elected such stupid politicians. This video is probably going to get me banned, so be sure to go over to anamericanhomestead.com and sign up for our email newsletter so that I can stay in contact with you. I put out all kinds of different homestead videos all the time, and I want to make sure you can get all of them. A lot of people are complaining about being unsubscribed from my channel, and at some point we're going to have to make that jump over to a new platform because people here just don't like us for some reason. Maybe it's because of our choice of food options for grizzly bears. I don't know. Also, our herbal extract books. These are absolutely insanely expensive. If you buy them on Amazon, you're going to spend, $900 on one and like $800 on the other. I'm giving them for free to everyone who joins my Patreon this month for $1. If you join my Patreon for at least $1. I mean, if you join at higher levels, I really appreciate that. You're supporting the channel. But I'm going to give you these things. These are out of print, out of copyright. There's no way you're going to get these anywhere else online for cheaper. And they have tons of information. That's why they're so valuable. Okay, if you're into making your own tinctures and your own things for when you get the sneeze, cough issues, there you go. Patreon.com/AnAmericanHomestead. You can find the link in the description below. If you can't find the links to the PDFs, message me on Patreon or even at my website, and I will make sure you get that link. Okay, and speaking of stupid shit hurt, you can find our best-selling shirt of all time. Link in the description below. If we had more hurt in this world, we'd have an awful lot less stupid. 30 rounds of stupid shit hurt. We keep these around all over the place on our homestead because you never know when a man-eating grizzly might show up. See you next time on the homestead. Bye. This is Grandma. Grandma survived the Great Depression. She survived the Great Depression because her supply chain was local and she knew how to do stuff. Grandma was smart. Grandma told us to make do with what you got. She also said, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Homesteading is all about self-reliance and declaring ourselves to be independent from the system. We grow our own food, we raise our own animals, and doing these things helps safeguard our families from the unpredictable world that surrounds us. But what about banking? I love being my own power company, but what about being my own bank? Right now, our country is over $30 trillion in debt and rising. The Fed keeps printing money, and the Congress won't stop spending money. Staying attached to the modern banking system and their investment vehicles is like putting all of your eggs in one very, very fragile basket. On one side, you have the threat of inflation and your savings value floating away, and the other side is a possible deflationary stock market collapse, just like what happened in the 1930s. Genesis Gold Group is like a basket holding eggs, and these eggs are impossible to break. History shows us that all paper investments have and will return to their intrinsic value eventually, zero. But gold, silver, and other precious metals have never, ever been worthless. In every collapse throughout history, people have turned back to precious metals to find monetary value. If you have a 401k, an IRA, or a savings account where you're literally watching the purchasing power inflate away, give Genesis Gold Group a call right now, today, this instant. They can develop a strategy for you in the days ahead. I can tell you how I raise sheep, I can tell you how I raise chickens, or the best way to grow tomatoes, or how to hook up a solar panel. But Genesis Gold Group is your best shot at safeguarding your hard-earned savings and investments during this increasingly turbulent time in history. The link and phone number is in the description below, or visit their website at genesisgoldgroup.com. And be sure to say you heard about them from An American Homestead. Hey guys, did you know you can become a patron of An American Homestead? They get access to private videos, and we send them gifts from the homestead that we make here on the homestead. And we also enter our patrons into special giveaways that are only available to them. And before you go, please check out these other great videos. Go ahead, click. I'll wait.